Okay, we in the Apocrypha, and as I was saying, if you can get the Cambridge University Press Apocrypha, it goes right along with the 1611 King James Bible, the Revised Version, right? So we in Esther, the 13th chapter, and when you read, you can read Esther from the first chapter to the 10th chapter in the Revised Version King James Bible. So you had this wicked Haman, this Edomite, that's saying this. This is what it says in Esther 13 and 4 and 5. It says, declared unto us that in all nations, because King Ahasuerus had 127 provinces, and we were scattered among those 127 provinces as the Israelites. It says, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people. Malicious mean you angry without a cause, that had laws contrary to all nations. Remember I told you in Psalms 96 and 5, for all the gods of the nations are idols. So they dealing with idolatry. We dealing with the most high power of Abraham, who had a son named Isaac, who had a son named Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, who became the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. Only, period. So our laws are contrary to all nations and continually despise the commandments of kings. So as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward. So the uniting of everybody in the kingdom, just the Persian Mede Empire, y'all, say behind us not following the king's rules and regulations that he set up, that the kingdom can't go forward. Seeing then, we understand that this people, talk about the 12 tribes of Israel, alone is continually in opposition unto all men. And you see it to this day. We're in opposition to all men that are breaking the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments. Differing in the strange manner of their laws. See that? So our laws are strange to these other nations. And evil affected to our state. You hear that? And evil affected to our state. Yeah, because they're not dealing with the Most High. They're dealing with idolatry. They're not under the laws, statutes, commandments. They're not under moral laws, civil laws, dietary laws, ceremonial laws. Unto this day. Hear what it says? Seeing then, we understand that this people, talk about the 12 tribes of Israel, because we had, it's mainly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but we have other tribes that are right there with us. They always was with us. Alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established. Hear that? So, Ezra risked her life to go before the king, because his scepter, when she went in there, his scepter could be up or his scepter could be down. And they would have put her to death. Because you didn't go before the king unless he called you. But Esther she was an Israelite. She had us fast and pray and don't eat anything for 3 days. And she went before him. Set up a banquet for Haman. He thinking that, hey, he's because he was right underneath the king. Thinking that he got it going on. And when she brought him to the banquet, he said, hey, he's trying to kill my people. And he had gallows ready for her uncle, Mordecai. That's why we have the day of Mordecai. It's called the Purim. And the Apocrypha is called Day of Mordecai. Because once he was going to kill us, have us killed, it was reversed and we can kill them. on the 14th day of the last month. And she went in there again. They said, can we kill him another day? So we got him on the 14th and the 15th. Understand, overstand this. But this is his plot, to have us put to death. Now, praise the Most High was reversed. Because it's always been that. It's always been like that. That's why we're in the Persian Media Empire. Look at Ecclesiasticus. Now, let's go to Esther 16th chapter, and let's start at reading at verse 15. Yeah, that's what I want. Esther 16 and 15, it says, but we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch have delivered to utter destruction, are no evildoers, but live by most just laws. You hear that? But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch have delivered to utter destruction, want to kill us, are no evildoers. We were no evildoers, like we not now, but live by most just laws, because they're the laws of the Most High. And that they be children of the Most High and most mighty living power. I read it again, this is who we are. And that they be children of the Most High and most mighty living power, who have ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner. Wherefore, ye shall do well not to put in execution the letter sent unto you by Haman. It's Haman in here, but it's Haman, Haman. When you read in Esther in the Revised Version, King James 611 Bible, the son of Amadatha. For he, this Haman, that was the worker of these things, is hanged at the gates of Susa with all his family. He made gallows to hang Mordecai and to kill us. And once Esther invited him to the banquet, and she told King Ahasuerus what he had done. He went outside and he was on the bed. He was on the bed begging her. He came in and they took him out and hung him, then hung all his sons. That's what it's saying. And he that was the worker of these things is hanged at the gates of Susa with all his family. The Most High, who ruleth all things speedily, rendering vengeance to him according to his deserts. He wanted to do it to us, it was flipped on him, that we done it to him. Therefore ye shall publish the copy of this letter in all places, that the Jews may freely live after their own laws. That's why you're looking at all nations in the kingdom. You know, we read about how Jethro told Moses how to set up officers of thousands and, hundreds and tens and fifties and tens and so forth. Certain nations going to be in the kingdom. They're going to follow exactly what the Most High says. You hear what it's saying? Therefore ye shall publish the copy of this letter in all places. He had 127 provinces, that the Jews may freely live after their own laws. So we living after our own laws in the Persian and Media Empire, right? So now we got to go into who took them down, the Greek Empire. Which is in between your 1611 Revised Version, when you go to 1 Maccabees, the first chapter. So in Malachi, we're still in the Persian Media Empire, right? That's why you got to know our story compared to his story. They call it history. It's his story that he's telling you that you're supposed to believe instead of our story. Now, we giving you the right proper understanding of our story. So now, look, Like I say, this comes in between Malachi and Matthew, because when you're in Malachi, you're in the Persian Media Empire. When you get to Matthew, the first chapter, you're in the Roman Empire. You understand? So we're looking at from the Persian Media Empire to the Roman Empire, what happened to the Greek Empire? Here it is right here in the Apocrypha, in First Maccabees, the first chapter. So let's read verse 1. I'm going to get to the points. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persian and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Alexander the Greek, you see, took down the Persian and Mede Empire. So he ran in the first over Greece. You see, Alexander the Greek. You learn. They make sure you learn about him, right? But what happened when he came into power? He ruled for about 12 years, from like we'll say 20 to 32 years old, and he died. He set up 4 generals to take over his provinces that he had, from taking down the Persian Mede Empire, right? So now we're in the Greek Empire. This has been taken out of your Bible, your King James 611 Bible, Revised Version Bible. The Protestants took the Apocrypha out, right? So now we putting it back in where it belongs. See? So now the Persian Mede Empire, you see that what they said, the decree was we're going to follow our laws as the Israelites. But now here come the Greeks coming into power, the so-called white man coming into power, right? Taking down the Persian Mede Empire, the first over Greece, the first empire that they came into, right? They ain't going to teach you this, but we're going to learn today. So once he set up his 4 generals after he died, in verse 9 it says, and after his death, this Alexander the Greek death, they all put crowns, powers and authority upon themselves, his 4 generals. So did their sons after them many years. Listen to what it say, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Hear that? That's why Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He who is the wicked covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not when, who is he? Because what other people that you can open up a Bible and they show themselves as representing who? The Most High, representing Hamashiach Yahushai, representing the Israelites. And to this day, they say they're the Jews, right? A lot of people believe it. They can't prove it at all. They're everybody in the Bible. But after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, came out of these Edomites a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks, right? The 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. This is not in the Bible, your Revised Version Bible. But it's here. Listen, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant, a contract agreement with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. That's what I say, the Apocrypha is pretty self-explanatory. He said, let's go make a covenant. Let's make agreement with the heathen that's in charge. Because since we stopped following them, we have had much sorrow. And it pleased them very well. To say, then certain of the people were so forward there herein that they went to the king, this wicked king Antiochus Epiphanes, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So they have a license to be wicked, and we can't deal with them. Look what they did, though. Whereupon they built a place of exercise. And y'all love them gems, right? They built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. See? These are customs of the heathen. These gems and so forth. It says, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, forsook the holy laws of the Most High, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. See? That's why we got to look at this sincerely and go into it. Let's jump up to Verse 36, it says, "For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary was an enemy to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it." You see? They defiled our sanctuary by killing us, shedding our blood, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. You see, we had to leave our land of Israel. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Remember, Persian Media Empire was able to follow our laws, but just what the Greeks, the so-called white man, did when he came into power. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. This is what our fraternal brother did, had happened. And wicked 2/3 of our people. And all the nations joined with whoever's in power. That's what they do. They go by whoever's in power. They're a bunch of followers. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. That sounds like New World Order to me. Everybody one people. Everyone should leave his laws. Who have the laws? We have the laws. These other nations have no laws. They just deal with idolatry. Everyone should leave his laws So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Because what laws they have? We the ones that have the laws of the Most High. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbaths, the holy day of the Most High. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. These are strange laws of the land. And forbid burnt offerings, no more sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple. And that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. Profane. And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. That's why it tells you about Esau's being profane. Go to Hebrews. The book of Hebrews. Let me find it. Hold that. We're coming back there because you got to look at, we're going through a lot of why we all jacked up. Wicked Israelites and wicked Edomites. It says, Hebrews 12 and 16. This is what it says. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. See how he making the sanctuary profane? Who for one morsel of meat, red meat, sold his birthright. You see? So I'm just showing you that even in the New Testament, it still let us know that these are the same people. These are the same people that was ruling during the time of Mashiach Yahushua. They just changed the name to Romans. Same people. It's just the truth. Listen, this is what they did. And this is during the Feast of Dedication. We go through all of this. But I'm just from the Persian Empire to the Greek Empire now. Right? And it says, verse 44 of 1 Maccabees, the first chapter, for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. These strange laws. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. That's why I say profane person as Esau. And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Hear that? Pollute us. Does most time he gonna say he gonna do this, and we didn't want to follow him? He say, hey, I'm gonna pollute you. And that's what they did. He used them to pollute us. Because we ain't follow what he said do. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh. We ain't supposed to touch a dead pig carcass. But they were sacrificing pig in our temple. And unclean beasts, all kind of unclean beasts. So you know this is right. And they knew we went to captivity for our iniquity, so knowing this is right, they did what's wrong. But you following those that are doing, like they said, Wisdom of Solomon 5:7, when salvation is coming on this earth, they're going to say, we weird ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way. And as for the way of the Most High, the Mashiach Shai, we have not known it. But you see here, that's the end. When they say for Esau is the end of the world, that's what they're going to say. Everything you want to know is right here in the scripture. He already done stripped it out. But it's a puzzle. Verse 48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Still deal with that profane person as Esau. Make our people profane, to forget the laws of the Most High. You wonder why we steady talking about we ain't under the law. Here it started way back here. Because remember, the Persian Media Empire, what did they say? That we can keep our laws. But you had wicked men always going to come through and want to be like these heathen and not follow the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac. That's why he said, crucify Mashiach Shai, let his blood be on us and on our children. The same ones killed the prophets. Mashiach Shai, when he came on earth, told them, y'all the same ones that killed the prophets. Israelites. Wicked Israelites. Verse 49, to the end they might forget the law. See, there it is. To the end, these things are done that they may forget the law and change all the ordinances. See? And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. Put him to death. In the self-same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people. Don't that sound familiar like slavery? Said overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. You hear that? So all you that's saying we ain't under the law, you allowing evils to be produced in abundance in the land. You hear what it said? Everyone that forsook the law, these are Most High's laws, and so they committed evils in the land. Don't call yourself righteous and you not doing what he say do. You evil. And drove the Israelites into secret places. These are catacombs that the Vatican have. We built them many miles underground. The catacombs and so forth. And drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor, to be in safety. Now the 15th day of the month Caslu, in the 145th year, this is the rulership of the Greeks, the so-called white man's rulership, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces, they tore in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. Now you can tell me they for the Most High? Remember we read, if you go back in the earlier lessons that I went through, the Most High said he wrote these laws. He said these are my laws. So they burnt the laws that the Most High took the time to give us, like it's saying. And when they had rent, verse 56, and when they had rent in pieces, they tore in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. So all the books of the law that they found, they tore them up and burnt them with fire. And whatsoever was found with any the book of the testament, first 5 books of Moses, or if any consented to the law of the Most High, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. Now that's righteous. The king's commandment was, if you found with the laws of the Most High, the king's commandment was, you are supposed to be put to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many that were found in the cities. Now the 5 and 20th day of the month, Christmas, 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. You know? The 25th day of the month, like your Christmas, they took women that had their children to be circumcised, they put them to death. Is this why they took the Apocrypha out of your Bible? It's in the original King James 611 Bible. This is what they did. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many that were found in the cities. Now the 5 and 20th day of the month, the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandments, they put to death certain women that has caused their children to be circumcised, and they hang the infants about their necks. That's why I don't like to look at Christmas trees, because they put the babies' heads on them trees. Our babies' heads on them trees. That's why it tells you in Jeremiah, this is nothing new, Jeremiah 10, 1-5. That's that Christmas tree. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and raffled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. That's the laws, the dietary laws, in Leviticus 11 chapter. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenants. So then they died, and there was very great wrath upon Israel. Okay? Now, let's go to 2 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. We're going to read from verse 40. We're still in the Greek Empire, y'all. Second Maccabees 2 and verse 40. No, that's wrong. First Maccabees 2 and 40. Let me see. Select it. Yes, First Maccabees 2 and 40. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, because this is when Salaki on that too. They came against us in the time of the Sabbath, and they didn't fight and they killed God. They died. And then one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. They're going to kill us all. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against them. Neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. They went to secret places to honor the Most High on the Sabbath, and they came and killed them. This is some history that you probably don't know about. But it's our story, y'all. But in his story, he's not going to tell you about this. But it's right here in the Bible. This is before your New Testament. This is the Greek Empire. This is what they took out. Like I said, between Malachi and they got that blank page. That blank page should be here. That's what should be on that blank page. Right after Malachi, the last prophet in the Old Testament, then you have that blank page and you got Matthew. This should be there. They took it out. So I know they don't want this to come out. But it's coming out for all to hear. Because it's written. You can get it yourself or read it yourself. Verse 41. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, they come to fight us on the Sabbath day, seventh day of the week, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. They murdered them. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law of the Most High. They followed the law of the Most High. Valiant men, meaning they were powerful warriors. Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger. All those that's breaking the laws of the Most High, they were starting to kill them. And wicked men in their wrath start killing wicked men. But the rest fled to the heathen for safety. Remember those wicked men in Israel? Went to make a license with the king that they can do the abominations of the heathen. So they had to run. It was killing them. So they fled to the heathen for safety. Then Mattathias, this is Judas Maccabees. Mattathias is the father of the Maccabees. Judas Maccabees and his brothers, that's his father. Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel, uncircumcised, those they circumcised violently. See, whatever children they found that was not circumcised, they circumcised violently. Remember, if you circumcise your child, it's supposed to be put to death. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. And they pursued also after the proud men. So y'all can be proud all y'all want to. Most High gonna come after you. As it is here, they pursued also after the proud men. So it's gonna be many. Look, go to. I don't want to talk. I'll just let you know what he said he's gonna do. 2nd Ezra 8 and 50. 2nd Ezra 8 and 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time, we're in the last days, y'all, our time now, shall dwell in the world. Why? Because they have walked in great pride. You see that? He also said in 2nd Ezra 14, when you have wars everywhere, people going to be fighting amongst each other. Wait a minute. 15. Hold up. Salakia, I can't. That's why I'm going to another apocryphal Salakia. 2nd Ezra 15, and he said, in verse 18, there's gonna be martial law. Every man hand gonna be against his neighbor for the lack of food. Bread, it says. In great tribulation, it says, verse 18 says, Extra 15 and 18 says, for because of their pride, hear that? Because of their pride in these last days, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. You see, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Mind, their soldiers are going to have guns. And spoil their goods, rob everything that they have because of the lack of bread, lack of food, famine, and great tribulation. Here it is right now. We almost in it right now, yo. It's knocking right at the door. Understand, overstand this. So, going back to First Maccabees, second chapter. Verse 47 again. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hands. Got rid of the proud men, and they started to prosper. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinners to triumph. Got rid of them. Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, that's their father, should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke gotten strength in the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law. Be zealous for the laws of the Most High, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. The covenant with who? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, to the 12 tribes of Israel. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall you receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment. Hear that? Joseph in Egypt. Remember his brothers sold him to the Arabs, and the Arabs sold him to the Egyptians? He was very depressed. Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandments and was made master of Egypt. That's why you're looking at, we ruled Egypt for four dynasties. See? He's letting us know. These are examples that we have. Jump down to verse 64. Let's look at verse 62. I like this. Fear not then the words of a sinful man. He said, don't fear a sinful man, a man that break the laws of the Most High. He says, for his glory shall be dung and worms. His glory gonna be nothing but doo-doo and worms, he's saying. Today he shall be lifted up. Today gonna be exalted. And tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing. He said, hey, today he's lifted up, tomorrow he's going to die. And his thought's going to be nothing, because he can't think no more. He finished. Listen, wherefore ye my sons, this is Mattathias telling his sons, Judas Maccabees and his brothers, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law. I mean, come on. This during the Greek Empire. He says, show yourself men in behalf of the law of the Most High, for by it shall ye obtain glory. So how you going to look at somebody telling you ain't got to follow it, and you think they died and they went to heaven? No. They was wicked as ever, breaking the laws of the Most High. They ain't going nowhere but to hell. Because he said, look, wherefore ye my sons, verse 64, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, that by it shall ye obtain glory. So you're going to obtain glory by your works of keeping the laws of the Most High. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. He gave him the orders of, set up the orders of his sons. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you, because he had a brilliant mind. As for Judas Maccabees, he have been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. Judas Maccabee was set up to be a warrior, to fight the battle of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the law. You see, this is very important, because if you around people, you're going to be around people in these last days, what's going down, and they don't observe the law, they could be part of your downfall. You could die because of them. That's why he said, take also unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law. Come on. He's telling them, take heed to the commandments of the law. They're the Most High's laws. So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year. And his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Modin. And all Israel made great lamentation for him. It's a mighty man. See? Now let's go a little bit more onto, go to 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. We're still in the Greek Empire. 1 Maccabees, 2 Maccabees is the Greek Empire. And let's start at verse 1. Not long after this, the king